Шановні
Esteemed colleagues, traditionally at this time, Colonel Lysenko on the situation in ATO zone. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. Despite declaring by the leaders of the bands that act in Donbass of withdrawal of heavy weaponry, we register concentration of the groupings of enemy near Щастя, Станиця Луганська, Mariupol, Avdiivka, Piskida, Kuchaevska. The intensive movement of equipment and artillery ammunition via the Baltsevsky railway and forming of the ammunition storages near Donetsk continues. 10 howitzers, 5 armored personnel carriers, tanks, and infantry combat vehicles arrived to Debaltseve. Also, the enemy, according to the operative information, is preparing near Lugansk. They are conducting practical shootings from firearms. Yesterday, on the 9th of March, 31 shellings at the positions of our troops in ATO zone were registered. The most unquiet sections are Shirokino near Mariupol, near Donetsk airport, Piskevdiivka, Opetne, Troitsky settlement, and Sokilniki settlement near Bakhmutivska highway. 2 more shellings were made at our positions today after midnight, including one from artillery near Vodyanne settlement of Yasenovsky district of Donetsk region. Yesterday, near Shirokino settlement, practically all day, there was a battle going on. Starting from 9:30 in the morning until 1 o'clock at night, the militants were assaulting the positions of Ukrainian servicemen without success. The National Guard units replied by adequate response. Our servicemen blew up the ammunition storage and eliminated several militants. According to the State Border Service of Ukraine, 11 drones of the enemy were registered in ATO zone. Also, according to the air reconnaissance, the Su-24MA reconnaissance aircraft was used in the airspace of Volgogradsk-Rostovska region of Russia and over the Azov Sea. The active radio electronic reconnaissance continues. Reconnaissance of the enemy continues. During the last 24 hours, not a single serviceman was killed, 9 were wounded. Russian special services are trying to take under control all the bands in Donbass. The Kremlin supervisors train the mercenaries, preparing them to renew military actions. At the same time, militants refuse to execute the instructions of Moscow supervisors. That is why from Russian Federation to Donetsk region, many Federal Security Bureau servicemen came to clean the militants who are not subordinate to DNR. The same situation is on the occupied part of Lugansk region. The Russian supervisors had negotiations with the leader of the bandits, Cossacks, that control Anthrazit, trying to recruit him to the band, People's Militia of LNR. Near Orikhovo of Popasnyansky district of Lugansk region, unknown people blew up the railway bridge and railway 2 kilometers away from it. In Pervomaisk, in the result of military actions, the electric power plant is ruined. On the territory of Lugansk region that is controlled by Ukraine, And there are 3 settlements without electricity and 2 partially without electricity. And on the territory that is occupied by LNR, 29 settlements are without electricity. The repair teams of energy specialists and communal services of Donetsk and Lugansk regions cooperate with the pyrotechnical units that every day examine the territory of residential areas in the eastern regions. During the last 3 days on the territory of Lugansk and Donetsk regions, 36 ammunitions are eliminated. 1 of them is artillery shell, 2 mines, 20 grenades and mines, and 13 other explosives. Also yesterday, after negotiations in the Joint Center on Control and Coordination, the process of demining settlement Kominternova started. This settlement is in a buffer zone and is all the time shelled by the militants. The residential areas, local school and kindergarten were shelled at. There were many a lot of ammunition found there. Demining was done in 3 stages: activating some explosives, then eliminating some of the tank ammunitions, and then the work of professional sappers on the activation of the explosives that was found. Recently, the territory near Pavlopol will be demined. Ukrainian law enforcement servicemen successfully detain and eliminate militants. In the Donetsk region, the security service of Ukraine servicemen detained 2 citizens of Ukraine who are involved into printing the separatist products. 20-year-old person was accompanied by his accomplice that was acting as a driver and bodyguard. They had this, the last one had the certificate of the person from the security service of separatist organization People's Front of Novorossiya. Also, the Kalashnikov machine gun was confiscated from these people, and also 3,500 copies of the literature of DNR. Also, another criminal was detained in Lugansk region. The citizen of Ukraine is suspected in participating in illegal armed group of LNR and in participation in the military opposition to ATO forces. In Transcarpathia, the law enforcers detained 38 old citizens of Lugansk region, which is suspected in kidnapping people and other crimes. This person used to fight on the side of LNR, and then he moved to one of the Ukrainian voluntary battalions and had a nickname Separ. Yesterday in Khmelnytsky, in the result of the special operation, 5 citizens of Ukraine and 1 citizen of Russian Federation were detained during the search of the hotel room and 2 cars. The Kalashnikov machine gun was confiscated, as well as grenade, gun, and some pieces of ammunition. The Ukrainian army continues to enhance its combat capacity. The personnel of one of Ukrainian air mobile brigades had the training in special training. They were shelling from anti-tank weaponry, and also from sniper guns, machine guns, and pistols. In Mykolaiv, near the memorial of heroes Alshansi, 103 servicemen of the National Guard of Ukraine, which were recruited during mobilization, made an oath to the loyalty to Ukrainian people. Their friends and relatives came to this ceremony. They commemorated the memory of those who died for the sake of peace in our country. These New recruits, after the course of military preparation, will start conduct their tasks. The rotation of Ukrainian law enforcers in ATO zone continues. Yesterday, the citizens of Belgorod-Dnistrovsky were meeting the bodyguards who came back from ATO zone. After 6 months of staying in ATO zone, this unit came back home without any losses. The servicemen say that they have been waiting for this meeting for a long time. In Lvivsk region, the bodyguards did all the documents for humanitarian assistance. A lot of assistance came from Germany and Great Britain of the total weight of 18 tons. And now the history of Ukrainian officer who is fighting with Russians near the Baltsevsky stronghold. The senior lieutenant of the 40th Battalion, Yuri Brikharya, was mobilized on the 12th of May 2014. During January-February of this year, Yuri was commanding the defense of the stronghold Zenit near Debaltseve. That was a key point in defense of the city against the attempts of pro-Russian militants who were trying to encircle our servicemen. The senior lieutenant, said that when on the 20th of January the enemy started concentrating their forces, they realized that there are professional Russian military in the troops of the militants. But our servicemen did not panic. 50 servicemen were holding the stronghold against the much bigger forces of the enemy. The servicemen of Brihar were successfully shelling at the tanks from anti-tank weapons. As soon as the servicemen eliminated the first Russian tank, it was clear that our servicemen are ready to fight to the last. The second Russian tank was eliminated. The third was also eliminated by different types of weapons. The other tanks that were offending were not the psychological problem for the defenders of this stronghold. Thanks to the commandership of the senior Lieutenant Brihar and thanks to the courage of his soldiers, all 50 servicemen came out of this trap live and safe.
Questions? Please present yourself. Lana Slavets, the 112 TV channel. Whether you have started collecting necessary documents to pay prizes to those who destroyed enemy's machinery. As far as I know, they have started, but I cannot inform in details. What is the situation on both sides with the withdrawal of heavy equipment? Ukraine has implemented its commitments made in line with the Minsk agreements. Nevertheless, in order not to put our servicemen under risk at the front line, there is some heavy artillery which is not far from the front line at a specified distance, and in case of any risk and necessity, it will be brought back. We mentioned many times that separatists relocate the heavy artillery and then bring it back to the front line, and they are always ready to attack. Actually, they're using this ceasefire, separatists only strengthen their forces. Using this situation, they relocate their human resources, their weapons, their fuels, etc. And as of now, they do it without any impediments. I have read such an information that after March 10th, the militants may start active attacks alongside the entire front line. Can you confirm this? I can confirm that this situation has been being spread out, and we are always ready to repulse. About that tank near Mariupol, which you mentioned, where are there any details? I do not have details handy, but if you need them, I will inquire for you. Thank you.